If your editing process starts like this, you're already behind. You're wasting time, you're missing the absolute best shots your camera captured, and honestly, you're making the whole job way harder than it needs to be. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on my own process and show you the professional workflow I use to ingest and organize footage in DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to show you how I use Resolve's often overlooked tools, such as custom metadata fields and smart bins, to take that massive pile of chaotic footage and turn it into an effectively organized project that enables you to focus on what really matters. I know what you're thinking. Media management, logging, metadata, that's the boring part of editing. And you're right, it is. But it's also the single most important thing that separates the fast, high-paid professional from the frustrated amateur. Stop wasting hours searching. Let's make your media management fast, smart, and powerful. Let's jump into the media page. Alright, so I'm here in the Media tab of DaVinci Resolve now, and I'm about to show you my workflow for importing and sorting footage. And I was looking through my recent projects trying to figure out what would be the most broadly applicable example to use this workflow for. And I came to the conclusion that a YouTube video is probably the best example for that. The techniques I'm showing here can be modified and adapted to be used for documentaries, feature films, short films, whatever you have going on. There's something from this that you can adapt and modify into your own workflow. So if there's things that you like and things that you don't like, you don't have to take the things that you don't like. That's the wonderful thing about media organization. Everyone seems to have their own way of doing it, and this is just the way that I've come to find is helpful for me. This is absolutely foundational to what I do as an editor, so my goal for this video is not just to show you how to use the tools, but also why you should use the tools. With all that being said, I hope it's helpful for you. Let's dive right on in. In the Media tab of DaVinci Resolve, they have a section called Media Storage. And this is Resolve's version of your file browser. So whether you're on Mac, it's Finder, on Windows, your File Explorer. This is all that just inside of Resolve. And whenever you browse through files on there, you're browsing through the files that are on your computer or your hard drives, SSD, NASs, whatever you have. So when I import, I don't just drag things into DaVinci Resolve. I do it through DaVinci Resolve's Media Storage tab. I find it to be the most helpful for me because I can right-click on a folder and hit Add Folder and Subfolders into Media Pool, which will automatically take any subfolders that are in there and bring those and all associated media files into DaVinci Resolve. I hit that, it takes a second to process, and boom, my whole file structure is in the project. Now, that does require having a file structure. If you go and you just dump all your files from 4 different cameras into one folder, it's not going to come in looking this organized. And for some people, that might be all that they need, just dumping it all in there and they'll sort it themselves. But the goal of this is really to showcase how you can be more efficient with your organization, and the benefits of this grow the bigger the project is, especially if you're working on a project with multiple other people, whether it be editors, colorists, sound designers. Whatever you have it, the more you scale it, the more important it becomes. And so for a lot of people, having a basic file structure is enough. For me, I use it as a baseline and I grow on top of it. And matching my bin structure in Resolve to my actual file explorer is helpful because if I go and I have more things I want to add, I have a place to put it. It's not that I have to go and make new room for it. It's already there. The file structure template I have is expandable and I can add to it and I can just import the new files whenever I need to. I'll go ahead and I'll show you my file structure template. This is from a video I did over on my main channel not too long ago where I reviewed a tripod. The title of the master folder is the name of the product. Inside of the master folder, I have things organized by shoot days, audio, editing assets, exports, and then miscellaneous files. The footage is going to be inside of shoot days, and inside of shoot days I've organized by calendar date, and then I give a description for what was filmed on that day. So on the first day I did unboxing, the next day I did intro, the next day after that I did the talking heads segment, and then after that I did some more B-roll. And all these things are nicely organized, and I can go in and I can find, oh, okay, I have a cameras folder. What's in there? I've got an R6 and I've got an R7. So for the B-roll, I shot some on the R6, and I have all that there. And then I also shot some on the R7. I have that there. But when you go through and you're looking at your media files, you'll notice here that it's just a bunch of numbers and random letters strung together. And it depends on your camera. Sometimes the camera does give you more valuable metadata than what mine do. but mine just are a bunch of numbers. And I look at that, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. And you can switch the thumbnail view to appear, and you can see roughly what's going on in it. But then when you go and you try to find a clip later, you're struggling because there's so many clips to go through. This is a smaller project, so it's a little bit easier to find things. But imagine having a project which was shot over a whole week, and you have hundreds of different clips that you're trying to sort through and find, and you haven't labeled anything. Everything's just numbers and letters. It's really hard to find that. So this is more of a baseline. I have things organized in my file structure, but I'm going to actually make use of what's called smart bins. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm going to showcase the functionality of tagging metadata. Now for this project, I had two types of footage. I had A-roll and I had B-roll. A-roll is what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to the camera, that's A-roll. B-roll would be any additional footage that's placed on to showcase something I'd be talking about. So if I start talking about this keyboard, there would be B-roll shot of the keyboard. That is how that dynamic works. And so I will have, less A-roll footage and a lot of B-roll footage. And sometimes it's shot over different days. So I shot the A-roll on one day and I shot the B-roll on a different day, or I did a day where I did both. And they're all in one folder. Well, the A-roll's somewhere in here. The goal with tagging metadata is to enable me to find the B-roll on their own, and then when we get to using smart bins, it's going to make it even faster. So let's go into the files here, and you'll see that I have shoot days. Let's go ahead and look for our A-roll first, and that's going to be easy because I shot only the A-roll on one day in my talking head segment. I have cameras and I've got audio for that. So I'll go in, my cameras, my R6, I shot video, and I've got 3 little files here. And when I go into the folder, you see 3 clips, and these are my takes for the A-roll. What I'm gonna do now is close the media storage tab just to give us a little bit more screen real estate, and then I'm gonna click on the clip. And this panel should show up on the right. It's called the metadata panel. If it doesn't show up, you'll just go up to the top right and toggle metadata. And now you have a list of many different things you can put in to describe a clip. And if you look at the list, it's probably a little overwhelming. There's a ton of different things you can enter in for metadata. What metadata you input is going to depend on the project you're doing. For YouTube videos, it's a lot more simple. I usually am only going to input 3 or 4 metadata fields, but if you have a feature film project where you have stuff going to colorists, VFX artists, sound designers, things like that, you're going to be tagging a ton of metadata. That way, other people that are going through are able to determine, oh, this is information I need. And a lot of higher end cameras will include internal metadata. So, oh, I shot with this lens, the camera can record that metadata, things of the sort. It's going to depend on the camera. My Canon R6 records essentially 0 metadata. Regardless of that, I'm going to go in here and fill in some metadata that I would find to be helpful for me. The major one that we'll start with is going to be shot type. This is A-roll, so I can go ahead and select all of the clips by doing Command A and going to the shot type and typing in A-roll. Now, you don't have to type it all uppercase. I like to do it that way, so that way I don't have to worry about, oh, did I type these in uppercase or lowercase? I find that just doing it all in caps lock uppercase is helpful to avoid any mistakes with capitalization. You click save, and now all of those clips have been tagged as A-roll. In a minute, we'll go and we'll find the B-roll clips and tag them as B-roll, but just to start, we've done that. And you say, okay, Rocco, you typed in a word, nothing changed. It's just a word logged in something. Hold on, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna go back in, select all the clips, and this scene is going to be talking head. Technically, when you say scene, that's usually talking about something numerical. So in a short film or a feature film, it's scene 1, shot 2, take 3. However, you're not limited to using the metadata Resolve gives you. I've set up my workflow to function in this way where I just type in scene, I type in the subject of the shot. For this, the scene is the talking head segment. The scene could be an interview, and you put the interview subject's name. But a recent update to DaVinci Resolve added custom metadata. You can actually go to the 3 dots in the top right corner and click Create Custom Metadata. And then you can input a field name. So if you would rather type in the subject of a shot, and as you can see, subject is not something that's on there, you can go and you can type subject. Set it to be text input, and you can also have it show in all of your projects. You click Add, and then boom, you now have custom metadata. But where is it? Unfortunately, it is all the way at the bottom. But thankfully, it doesn't have to be that way. You can modify what fields are shown by going to the sorting tab, and you can have it be all groups, which it is right here, or you can have custom. So if you want to only have your custom metadata fields, you can create a whole bunch of metadata fields that are uniquely tailored to you and keep them there. But I'm going to go ahead and undo that because my workflow is based on existing metadata fields. So I'm going to hit all groups and go back to that, and now we're back to where we were. I'm going to select the shots again, and I'm going to set the scene to talking head. I'll click save, and now these have all been applied to be the talking head. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter in some more metadata that I find to be helpful for my shots. That will include the shoot day, which for this case is going to be 10/01/25, and then I can also put in the location, which is going to be my apartment. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to type shot. You can have it be descriptive of what is going on. And I'm going to type in review because it's a talking head where I'm giving my review. And then my angle is going to be wide because this is a wide angle. And then the next thing I'll go ahead and enter in is the camera ID. And that is something that I have decided is going to be on all of my projects. Even if I don't assign metadata for everything, I go in and I assign camera ID. This is really helpful for me when it comes to color grading because I use group management. And I can go and I can sort by camera ID and apply proper color space transforms to the proper cameras. Anyhow, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in R6 because that's the camera ID I've assigned to this camera. And now that I have that figured out, I can go ahead and rename the clip based off of these fields that I've inputted. And you might say, that's annoying. You have to go and you have to double click on it and then rename it based off of what you see. No. You don't have to do it that way. You can right click on the clip, go to clip attributes, and you can go to name. And where it says clip name, you can have a template that you copy and paste in there. And so I'll showcase this really quickly. If I want it to be named based off of the metadata fields I've put in, I can type in percentage, and then you see this drop down comes down. And you can go through it and you can name a clip based on anything. So I'm going to do percentage. I'm going to start with shoot day. And this was shot on 10/1/25. And if I just hit enter and hit OK, it renamed the clip to the field that I input. So if you've gone ahead and you inputted a date, a shot type, location, all these different things, you can have one template that you apply to all of your clips, and you can put different metadata for each clip, and all of your clips will be renamed based off of those input fields. So I have my own template that I've set up for this project that I'm going to copy and paste into this clip name field. I hit enter, and you'll see that now the clip is named 10/01/25 A-roll apartment talking head review wide R6. So I have the date, I have the shot type, got the location, I've got the scene, I have the focus, and I have the frame and the camera type. This can be applied to everything you shoot. It doesn't have to be what I've shown just here, but you can go and you can develop your own workflow, your own system for what fields are most important for your projects, input those fields, rename your clips based off of those fields, and then you can have something beautifully named like this as compared to RJG6504.mp4. Oh, what clip was the one where I talked about the bananas? It was RJG6504. Or no, it was 10/25 A-roll apartment talking head bananas. Oh, I went ahead and I labeled it based off of what I was talking about. That was a silly example, but you get the point. You can leverage this to make your editing 10 times faster. Finding clips without proper organization is one of the most annoying things ever. And even with an organized folder structure like this, you can get lost in what day you're in. You can get lost in what camera you're looking through. Sorting with metadata changes the game. So with that being said, let's go ahead and tag our B-roll shots. I'll navigate into that folder. I'll go to the R6, which I shot most of the B-roll on, and then you can see I have a lot more clips here. Well, this is all B-roll. I know that because I know how I shot it. Now, if you had been with mixed shots of both B-roll and A-roll, you would have to go through and tag based on that. But I can go here, select all of them, and rename them based on that. So I'll type in shot type B-roll. Shot location is going to be apartment. The shoot day is going to be 10/02/25. And the scene is going to be the tripod showcase. So we've gone ahead and filled in those fields that are broad and can be applied to all of the clips, and then you can narrow down from there and start tagging based off of more narrow details. So like, oh, this is a gimbal shot, I'm going to tag gimbal. Oh, this is a close-up shot, I'm going to tag close-up. Things of the sort. You can't tag all of the clips based on that. You can go ahead and narrow down. And one thing I like to do is I'll go ahead and I'll rename the clips with incomplete tagging just so I can see which ones have I finished. So you'll see I have clips that are missing a few different fields, but I can go in here and I can be like, okay, this shot is a wide angle. And as I type that, it automatically fills in the metadata. Oh, wide. It got renamed with that. And so what's next? Looks like I'm showcasing the weight. So I'm just going to type in weight in the shot, and boom, it automatically fills that in. So tripod, showcase, weight, wide. And what's missing? Well, camera ID. I forgot to fill in camera ID for all of them. But the great thing about metadata is that you can go back and you can change at any point in time. Camera ID is R6. I'll click save. And now all of them are tagged as the R6. If you want to go back and change things, if you miss something, there is room to go back and change it, which is really great. So the fulfillment of this workflow would be to go and fill in the details for every single clip. For the sake of this video, I won't go and do that, but you get the idea. From here, we are actually not finished with the possibilities our metadata opens for us. With the fields that we've inputted, we can go ahead and we can create special bins based off of metadata that's been inputted. DaVinci Resolve calls these smart bins. Smart bins have completely changed the game for me in DaVinci Resolve. Let me show you why. We're going to enable the smart bins by hitting on the three dots and click Show Smart Bins. This little tab will pop up on the left. And in here, we can create our own media bins that sort footage for you based on metadata. If you think about it, this is kind of crazy. So if I have B-roll shot across 5 different days in 5 different folders, I can create a smart bin that is for all B-roll, and it will pull all of the B-roll, so long as it's tagged properly, into this new B-roll folder. And you can get more specific than that if you want, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an A-roll folder, and we're going to go ahead and create a B-roll folder. So you can do this by right-clicking, doing Add Smart Bin, and then this little window will pop up. You'll give your smart bin a name, and you can have it show in all of your projects. In this case, we'll start with A-roll, so I'll type that in. And then you have the rules. So this is how you are programming your smart bins to look for certain metadata tags. What we're going to do is tell this smart bin to look for clips that have specific tags under the shot type. We're going to go into this first dropdown, change that to shot and scene. And then we'll go to the next one, change it from description to shot type. If you want the smart bin to look for the shot type that says A-roll, you can have it be set to contains, which will look for the presence of whatever word you type in next, or you can have it set to is. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated, because these parameters allow you to narrow down what exactly is in these fields. If you're just typing in a few different variations for each field, then you wouldn't really have to worry about this. But for the sake of simplicity, contains is going to allow additional characters to be recognized. So if I go and I type in A-roll in this next thing, you'll see that it has found all the clips that have the tag A-roll in them. But if one of these clips down here was tagged A-rolls, I can go in here and I can accidentally misspell my shot type to say A-rolls. It's still going to be in this smart bin because it's looking for if that field contains A-roll. But if you want it to be even more specific, you can edit it, and instead of being contains, you can click is. And then the one that doesn't have the right spelling is removed. This is just something to be aware of because sometimes you might input metadata incorrectly. So I usually like to keep it at contains unless I'm trying to be very specific because, sometimes you accidentally make a mistake. You type in A-rolls instead of A-roll. So a more specific example of how and why you would want to change that is, let's just say you have a documentary about bananas and you have a bunch of clips talking about bananas, and then you have a bunch of clips talking about banana pudding. You have a field that's looking for banana, and you have some clips that are labeled in that field banana. Some clips using that same field are also labeled banana pudding. If it contains banana, even if it says something else after, it will include it. If you want to narrow down, you're looking for only the banana shots, you set it to is. If you want it to be only the banana pudding shots, you set it to is banana pudding. It really is not always something that you have to worry about. When you have lots and lots of different things that you're putting into the same field and there's some overlap, that's where you'll want to get more specific. For this, contains is going to be just fine. So we've created that. We can go ahead and we can duplicate this and work smarter, not harder. We'll rename that to B-roll. And all I have to do is go into this one, this duplicated one, edit it, and change it to contain B-roll. And now I have a smart bin with all of my B-roll files. This is a game changer in more ways than one, because if you have a bunch of different clips that are the same subject matter strung out across different folders, different days, whatever you want to have it, this helps you tidy things up and you don't have to search through 50 different folders to find the right clips. I can have a dedicated A-roll bin and I can have a dedicated B-roll bin, and you can go and you can actually create folders. So if I want to put a folder for shot types, I can do that, and I'm going to put A-roll into there, B-roll into there. And boom, now I have that organized. I can get even more specific. You can create smart bins that have multiple different rules. So you can have, I want a smart bin from all the B-roll from this location. You can add additional rules, you can get more specific. And like I was saying earlier, as your projects get bigger, the importance of this grows because you can get more and more narrowed down as to what your smart bins are looking for. And what you tag your clips with is very, very important. It can change the way you edit, and it saves you so much time because now, one, your clips are going to have better naming, and two, you're able to organize them even more efficiently than they were before. So this is a more simple example, but truly, I'm telling you, when you scale this to something like a feature film or a feature documentary, it makes all the difference in the world. I originally learned this workflow when I was working on a feature film last year in their BTS department. And in the BTS department, we had to organize terabytes of footage in DaVinci Resolve using metadata in smart bins, and it made things 10 times easier to find. Because let's just say that you shot an interview of the director and you have B-roll footage of the director across 20 different days on set. And if you have a team of editors, you have someone that's dedicated to tagging B-roll, someone goes through and they say, oh, the director's in the shot, let me tag the director. Now you can go and you can create a smart bin and set it up so that it looks for all the shots of the director that have been tagged. It is a game changer. This changed editing forever for me, especially for larger projects. So I hope you're seeing the value in this workflow. It may not be for everybody because it adds a little bit of extra work up front, but it can speed up your process in the long run, especially if you're on a large project. It also helps you if you're coming back to a project later, even if you're just looking through a project to find a clip to bring to another project, you'll have better organization. And you can modify this workflow for whatever circumstance you're working on. It doesn't have to be a YouTube video. It doesn't have to be a feature film. It could be a documentary, a music video. The list is really endless. It goes on and on and on. This workflow is massively helpful for me, and I know several others that swear by it, and it has completely transformed the way I edit. And I hope that this video can help you along that same goal. With that being said, I'm going to call it a day here. If this video was helpful for you, you know what buttons to click. My name is Rocco Germani, and you've been watching Resolve by Rocco. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.